Hey, it's Chris, Liege of Games. Now, you know, if I get paid, right, I have to click a little button that puts a little thing down below that says paid promotion. And, Twitter out there, you can notice if you're scrolling through your tweet feed, it says, ad. Or even, random Facebook ads, you're like, oh, geez, this is clearly an ad, right? No problem noticing that. Instagram sort of, I think, has something along those lines too. I don't Instagram, so I don't know what the heck I'm talking about. TikTok, no idea there. But the important thing that I want to ask you is, can you always tell what's paid and what's not? And why am I bringing this up now? Because it's becoming bigger, and it's becoming bigger on one of the other social media sites that doesn't really have or make people make a disclaimer whatsoever. Let's talk. So full disclaimer, I only use social media for the most part for board game information, interaction, discussion, buy, sell, trade, that sort of thing, right? I'm on Board Game Geek, I'm on Reddit, I'm on a little bit of Facebook, I'm on Twitter, just a little bit of smatterings here and there. But lately, the most smack you in the face that what the heck is going on here has become Facebook. And it's becoming more and more prevalent. And this is based off an interaction I had a few weeks ago. And I'm going to pull up some examples as we talk here so I can talk you through exactly what happened and why I think this is starting to be a concern. And maybe this isn't a concern with you whatsoever, right? Maybe you're like, Chris, screw Facebook. I don't use Facebook whatsoever. Because I know a lot of people don't. They're like, not even for this stuff that you're talking about. I don't even want to use it. But if you're one of those thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of people that are using it, did you know this? Did you notice this? Did you know about this in the first place? Let's talk. First up here, and you can probably see all of this, thankfully, but it was a comment, a random post that someone did. An excited backer posting about some random game, right? And someone responds and says, maybe you can tell us what you like about the game. Otherwise, this seems like a promo plug for the project, right? Completely innocuous sort of comment, right? Again, self-promotion, don't want to feel like things are being forced upon you, or, do you have an ulterior motive for this post? That's all it is on like Reddit and Facebook all the time, right? Okay, no problem with that, makes sense. Then shortly thereafter, you realize, wait a second, what? This is a banner, a group cover photo. Did you know those are being bought and sold for, advertisement purposes? Well, you do now, in case you didn't notice that. And apparently, those are a hot commodity because all of the big Facebook groups are doing it. All of them. So speaking of 4 Northwood, I'm not picking on 4 Northwood here by any means. You know me, I loved 4 Northwood. Great game, great game. But then, shortly after that banner, came this. And a random posting in one of the random big groups. And down at the bottom, in case you can't read that, I said, hey, is this an I'm interested in this post? Or is this promotion? Literally word for word. I took a screenshot, so no question about it, right? Didn't hear back. Didn't get a response. However, about 30 to 40 minutes later, I get this in my inbox. Someone who did not even comment on the post privately messages me and sends this message. What's with this comment? Seems rude. And by the time I got the message, this person had already unsent 2 others that I'm guessing were not very friendly in nature, and hence they removed them in their rash of sending them. And then the last, she can't share a game she's excited for, ? Didn't respond. This person, no. To be sending these to my personal inbox after me asking a question like that, 1, no. 2, let's dig a little deeper here for a second. Then you start paying a little bit closer attention, right? Then you start to notice that, oh, wait, every Tuesday, coincidentally, like when people post to selling groups in Facebook and they cross post, you see cross posts that sort of line up and they say, oh, this person posted this post in 3 things, right? Well, all of a sudden, look at this, time-wise, exactly the same. But it's a different person posting in 2 different groups. Both, I'll have you know, are admins in a same certain group. Both posting the same link to a campaign. And not just 1, but usually at least 2 or 3 a day. Oh, here's another one. 2 different groups, same 2 people. Another project, Same time frame. Can't read at the top, but posted in 2 groups. Again, random link to a campaign at the same time, different people, same mods. They even go as in so far to say, hey, other person who's actually interested in this game that's not a mod, not doing promotion, because that's what those posts are, in case you hadn't figured that out, and that's where I was going with this. Hey, can you use our link instead? In case you can't read that down there at the bottom and I'm covering it up. Please use our link instead. Why? Because it's all about the cash, folks. These are paid promotions. They want to turn around and say, look how many people are clicking on our links. Look how much ROI. Look how much return of interest you are getting from our group, from our link. When we not only post it in our group, we spam it across other groups, which may or may not be actually controlled by some of the same people. And go back a second to the fact that I just said, I just asked a polite question and I get rude sentiments sent to my inbox. I'm guessing they were probably even personal attacks, but I don't know because they were gone before I had a chance to check, and Facebook doesn't allow you to see what those were after somebody removes them. It's someone being rude and attacking me. I dare even ask a simple question that YouTube and most of the other sites that do promotion force you to claim that you are doing in the first place. They are so scared or offended that they're willing to go that far. And it goes further than that, right? When a project doesn't go through them, they say, well, I think it's weird that they weren't even going to go through us, and this is a missed opportunity. They're clearly missing out. And I'd like to think that's just saying, hey, we offer a good service and we want to be of help. But I also get the feeling that it's more arrogance that, people should be paying us because of what we do. Now, the other problem that you may not be aware of that ties right into this, right, is as YouTube, my side of things always get criticized of, right? I'm in bed with a publisher. I'm in bed with whoever. They're paying me. They're sending me free copies. I'm going to be positive, whatever it may be, right? Well, when Anunuki canceled, right, there was a post prior to this one that I'm showing you that someone said, hey, I think that these are some of the issues. This is it, right? Down at the very bottom here, I don't think you can see it. I'll try and blow it up, but I might be covering it because of the way I'm doing these images. Locked while we discuss moderation, right? Locked while we discuss moderation. Then I'll tell you, about an hour or two later, this was unlocked, but the person who locked it in the first place put up their own thread. Now, unfortunately, I don't have a picture of that thread, but it was basically saying, you shouldn't be criticizing, I'm paraphrasing here, you should not be criticizing publishers or decide to do this. You guys aren't in their shoes. You don't know what it is, by this same person who had locked the previous thread, right? Well, again, what does that have to do with anything? You're going, Chris, it's moderation. I understand you got to moderate and you got to keep things, toe in the line, positive, negative, without being, like insulting or critical or, but let's take a look here a second. It was criticizing the publisher in very, again, not super critical, just like mine. You go over to who's doing a sponsored giveaway, who is being paid by that publisher actively, probably at that point, because of said banners and a giveaway. Oh, look, and Anunuki right there. Interesting, right? And I can't help but wonder if the moderation isn't a little bit of, don't criticize our golden goose. Mind you, this is also the same mod. Again, I don't have a picture of this one, but this is what sort of also struck me in even wanting to make this in the first place, because there was a post several months ago that was something selling, and they had posted it, cross-posted it in several groups. And this same person went and literally, I quoted this because I wrote it down on my notes on my iPad, and it was, quote, "It seems a little bit desperate to be cross-posting these things. Why do people do this?" And again, you took it with a grain of salt, but it was not done in a jesting or a positive manner. Hypocrisy at its best. Cross-posting promotions, cross-posting your games to sell is not allowed. Cross-posting your own interests is not allowed, but we can cross-promote our own things that we're getting paid to do. It makes complete sense, right? The hypocrisy is real, folks. And if you think I'm just targeting the ones that launch on Tuesday, well, this one was literally screenshotted on the day that I filmed this. Same picture. This one, 2 weeks into the funding of G.I. Joe. I mean, it's going on all the time. Then the last tie-in was they tried to create a Reddit. They tried to post some of their own stuff on Reddit, and Reddit has a very strict self-promotion policy. And they just randomly posted their link twice. They didn't like being told that their stuff got taken down without, actually being a participant in the Reddit. So then they went over back to this group and said, well, they're horrible people over on Reddit because they won't let me just cross-promote or, self-promote all that I want. And again, the comment being, we still don't get to be rude or to people. See my comment in my inbox earlier. They aren't paid. This is the comment above. They only care about the mentality of thinking they're a mod for such a large subreddit and the power that comes with it. They aren't paid, so what else do they have? There's no action correction, essentially. The irony of these comments just apparently is just completely lost on them. One, I guess that's it, right? My point being the hypocrisy of it, the fact that there is literally no disclaimer, and no care, it seems like. And so it just happens rampantly, and it personally, apparently, affected me a little bit. So again, it's something that has been on my radar, but until it sort of struck me in that sense, personally, I wasn't really going to talk about it, but it deserves to be talked about because we talk about the monetization of it across the board with previews and review copies. And I mean, this is literally the same thing, only this is happening right in front of our eyes, right in front of us. And yet I have not seen nary a person mention that on any of these other forums, medias, or conversation pieces. But the other ones are brought up all the freaking time. And again, I mean, it's not a bad thing to be brought up, right? It's good to be accountable. And it's good to know where things are coming from in this aspect. But if it's going to be like this too, you got to call it like you see it too. So I'm calling it like I see it. It's probably going to make some people mad about this. But you know what? I'm here to have fun and talk about board games and the things that are influencing our hobby. And this is a big one. Some serious money changing hands here, folks, in terms of content, in terms of frequency, in terms of amounts, I'm sure. You're not talking small changes, and some of these Facebook groups are larger. Now, I'm not saying all of these do all of these things by any means. And again, I have no problem if you're making money, but if you're, insulting me and trying to shut me up about even asking about it, that's a whole nother issue. When you're not being transparent about it at all in the first place. I mean, Man vs. Meeple, Quackalope, Dice Tower previews. I mean, they all, hey, guys, this is a preview. Hey, this is paid promotion. Hey, this is a paid playthrough. So right going in, and you know what? No big deal. But when you do it and you act like it's not necessarily the thing that gets you in trouble, right? It's the cover-up that gets you in trouble. So, there you go. Random video, but needs to be talked about. Stay classy. I'll see you around. Have a great day. So this is a late addition to this video. This video was completely done, but now, interesting development just by the mere mention of criticism. I have been banned, blocked, booted from Board Game Revolution, which is the group that I am talking about where the subject of this video comes from. I posted last week on my Patreon that there had been a situation and that I would be talking about it in an upcoming video. It was a Patreon exclusive, so it wasn't mentioned anywhere else. I'm not sure what happened, but this happened now. And again, this is blown up because it wasn't my intent to specifically name names. But I get this in my inbox in the morning. The first message is from 8 something. You can't see the time frame. Moderate rude comments. I You saw my example of a rude comment in the video earlier. That was how I was rude. And now, full disclaimer, I've had other interactions where several of my posts were taken down. Low content effort, or I wasn't open-ended question enough. And, you know, one of the interactions actually I called him out on because basically he took the discussion point that I was raising in one of my early videos on the channel, said it wasn't open enough, and then proceeded in less than 24 hours to post a very similar rephrasing of it. And then I called him out in the comment section and he got really mad at me. So that's the sort of interaction. So here it is again, the rest of that message. And then like 5 hours later, I get this message. So I don't have a clue. I don't have a clue. Sometime in this, you know, mind you, I'm at work while this is all happening in the background. So I log in at the end of the day of my workday and I see all three of these messages, which make no sense to me whatsoever. And then, you know, I pull up the actual Facebook feed and I find out that, oh, that's funny. There's no more Board Game Revolution on my Facebook feed. I go and I click and I search and, oh, nope, you are, you know, can't even view anything. Can't even view the group. So it's not that I've just been booted. I've actually, looks like I've been blocked or banned or whatever Facebook does. So there you go. Here you can see, obviously in the upper right-hand corner, just to show you, this was a screenshot of what I searched for. This is what pops up. Nothing even there. And when I link to it, when I find the link tree, this is what happens. So you may be asking yourself, well, how is this relevant, Chris? And to be frank with you guys, it's not terribly relevant to the point about paid promotion and not disclosing the paid promotion. I mean, this is a whole separate side tangent. But the mere mention of me criticizing things and the concerns about moderation that I mentioned earlier about the publisher side of things and the money and not willing to disclose the paid promotion stuff. Again, the mere mention of me criticizing gets me banned and booted. Again, and that's fine. You know, private group, it's not censorship or anything like that. No, I mean, private group, you can do whatever you want. And you may have noticed in there, you know, he puts an apology. And so, you know, I really appreciate the apology, but when it's sandwiched by accusing me of being rude and then banning me before there's any chance for me to explain or for you to actually ask what it is, what do you do with that? I mean, I'd like to take it at face value, like, okay, I'm contrite, okay, let's talk this out. What is your actual criticism? What are your actual concerns? But before that can even be addressed, again, I log on after all these messages are there and I'm already banned and booted. So if you actually wanted to have a discussion, if there was actually sincerity behind that, I have to feel like that it wouldn't have been so swift. But if that's how you're going to take any sort of criticism, and again, those mixed messages there at the end, like, I haven't responded to that. Well, how am I supposed to respond to that? You ban me and boot me, and then you tell me how big of a fan you are of my videos. I don't know what to do with that. I don't know what to do with that. What can I say in that scenario that would appease? I'm not going to run the video. I'm not going to talk about these things. Please let me back in. I don't know what the expectation is there. I mean, there's a 6-hour window almost in there where all of a sudden the tone goes 180. And again, I mean, you saw the screenshot of what I put on that other post. If that's me being too rude and inconsiderate, well, I mean, yeah, I'm a little conflated sometimes in my ego, and I am, a little bit sarcastic, but again, my concern for raising this at the end here is that message, that last one, almost seems like it was, oh, I'm just going to ban you. Oh, I found out you actually have an audience. Like, what I worry about is that I have this channel, I have this outlet, I have the ability to have a platform on this channel to talk about whatever I want to talk about, and you guys have been gracious enough to listen to me blabble and ramble on for, too long. But what I worry about is that other people, I mean, if this is happening to me, it's clearly not the first time that this sort of interaction has happened, because this isn't just a one-time sort of thing. This just doesn't happen by random and over, a time or two. What worries me is this is a pattern of behavior, that you don't see behind the scenes of some of these, especially these types of groups. And other people aren't going to have the platform that I do with this small channel to be able to talk about these things. And the other weird thing about that message chain is, hey, you could have come to me. You were being rude. Like, if you're in school and the principal comes to you and says, you know what, this kid's been bullying you, instead of me stepping in, why don't you just confront your bullier and tell them they should stop bullying you, or tell them that you don't like being bullied? How well does that work out? If you have kids, you know what I'm talking about. If you've been bullied, you know what I'm talking about. That doesn't work. If I would have gone to him and said, hey, you're being really rude to me, based on the interactions that I have here, do you think that would have... I don't think I would have gotten a very positive response. So to say that at this point, you know what? You've been bullying me and I don't like how you've been interacting with me. Do you think I would have gotten a positive answer out of that? Now, retrospect, he can say that, yeah, I would have listened to you. Again, booted. So if you think there would have been actual discourse, the sequence of events does not line up with the narrative that is trying to be presented. And that's what I think is important. And that's why we have to talk about it. If you have the power to do this sort of thing, my concern is not me. I'll be fine somehow. I'll somehow manage without a Facebook group. But my concern is that both of these issues, I feel like, are a lapse in the trust that the power is given in these sort of situations. There you go. So just for the record, you can see that it's the 13th right now. So this is a day and a half before filming, and this will be the last update. But I came onto Facebook tonight, and lo and behold, now I am booted out of the board game exchange buy and sell group that he is also one of the head mods, or the head mod of, as well. Again, I show that date to show you that it's before this video has even aired, so it's not even done in retaliation for me talking about this in the first place. And I want to put this other last comment out there. Just because you don't see it, doesn't mean that it doesn't happen to other people. This is a case in point right here. You hear stories all the time of, oh, that person was completely normal, or, oh, they were fine with me. They must just be, you must have caught them on the wrong day or the wrong time, or... This stuff is a pattern of behavior. So again, disclaimer. This is bullying online. And this is what people are choosing to support. And just because it doesn't affect you doesn't mean that it won't affect you in the future, or someone you know will be affected potentially as well if you just let people get away with this. So take that for what it is as a final note. You can't make this stuff up, folks. You just can't make it up. Stay classy. Much classier than this, hopefully. Have a great day.